Welcome back to the Abios Grand Tournament. We're going into the game 2 of the single elimination 16 players invitational tournament hosted by Abios.com. So, we'll be seeing now Firebat versus Hoej. And this is Team Archon versus Na'Vi. Firebat, unfortunately, will not be a second-time world champ in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a crazy achievement, right, in a card game to win back-to-back world titles. But it's a shame that he won't be at the main event to like officially defend his title, if you know what I mean. So
yeah, but Hoej is in the next stage. So still, both players are really high-profile players, and this is something we love to see in tournaments, of course. We also did get the lineups. Wow, I'm happy for the second time. We can talk about it, right? Firebat is playing Shaman, Druid, and Rogue.
Rogue, yeah. So really off-the-wall lineup here for Firebat. Firebat's someone who's notorious for like intense amounts of preparation, like we talked about with Life Coach before. I think Firebat is another player you can put in that exact same bracket of top-tier preppers. So if he feels this is the right lineup to bring to a big $5,000 prize pool tournament, then I'm really interested to see what he has for us here.
Yeah, and then we have Hoej with Druid, Paladin, and Priest. I mean, we could have predicted that Hoej will not be bringing in Patron.
Yep.
Because he's, as we talked before, he's not that great Patron player. He talks about that himself, so it's not like we are, just shaming him here.
Right.
Here, but that was a situation. I can't recall which tournament was that, but he did bring like the best lineup in theory, which were not his comfort classes. So it was Patron and I think Handlock or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just lost like really early and said to himself, okay, this is not something I really wanted to play. I just go back to my comfort zone. I will use Druid Paladin and something else like Hunter, mid-range Hunter, an example, and just stay into, just focus on the things I'm really good with, and I think that's how he usually does now, right? So yeah, Druid Paladin, Priest from him, interesting matchups for the second time. By the way, I just looked briefly at the stream, and the quality of the source. Of the source quality is really, really great. It's like an eye candy just to watch. It looks better than your Hearthstone, without
it really does.
Anything.
Yeah, I was looking at it on High. I've just switched to Source. It is pretty fantastic. But yeah, just going back to the lineups, Priest is the interesting thing from Hoej to my mind. He is known, as I said, just before the first match when we were doing the introductions, that was. He's generally favors aggressive decks and aggressive mid-range decks, and there is no really aggressive Priest deck. Dragon Priest is a mid-range deck. It's a very tempo-heavy deck. It's a very board-heavy deck, but it's not an aggressive deck. It just tries to build board and then hit you for large amounts of damage in the late game, or take over the game with the Ysera or something like that. So I would suspect he is the Dragon Priest rather than a control priest. Like you said, Hoej generally not comfortable with the really heavy control decks. So I would favor it would be a Dragon Priest, but still slightly surprising that he's going with that over something like Hunter. But yeah, I think the big talking point here is Firebat's lineup, which just seems insane. We've basically seen no Rogue since TGT dropped, right? Like that class may as well have been deleted from the game.
Yeah, and we know that Firebat's favorite class is Rogue, so it really says something about the class when the player that really loves the class can't really play it. I mean, at the same time, Rogue is not that bad. It just falls a little short to current metagame. And the problem is the fact that you have no taunts usually in your deck, so there's no way to battle against Floating Berserker's combo. Wait, what's happening here?
Yeah, can we have a little brief chat about that 6-mana card that's in
I was just like, I was kind of in my zone talking about stuff, but then I just like catch with corner of my eye the Grand Crusader. I mean, I was playing this card on stream.
Summon a random Paladin card, right? That's the card?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was playing it on stream because it's actually great for streaming, right? Because it's entertaining, like super entertaining. you just play on coin. I mean, you play this on turn 6, and then you coin out Tyrion and you win. But in most situations, that's not going to happen. It's really great.
Right. You've now officially cursed Firebat. There is 100% chance of that happening this game now, Lothar. You do realize that.
Okay. But you not coin out. I mean, you don't innovate that route, right? Do you?
I don't know. I've never played Druid with Grand Crusader in it. No, apparently Hoej said you don't. So what's interesting to me about this pick is if you're playing it, it's a 6-drop, right? It's a natural 6-drop. There's nothing funky about it. It's a card you're going to look to play on curve on turn 6.
Yep.
So is he playing... I mean, I'm assuming he's playing Emperor. Some people don't. Most do. And then Sylvanas is the other option that has kind of made its way out of the deck a little bit now to make room for things like Darnassus Aspirant. But you're valuing Grand Crusader in your deck above Sylvanas? Does that sound right to you? It doesn't sound right to me.
I mean, I know that the players were encouraged to use new cards, you know?
Okay.
So that explains a lot. I mean, I love that. I really love to cast some tournaments that are not Patron versus Hand like every single time.
Right.
Because usually that's
what you
usually that's what happens for the past month, let's say.
Yeah.
Right. And right now we have something fresh, so that's really cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems to have worked. We've seen 4 players line up so far, and we haven't seen a single handlock and only 1 Patron Warrior so far. So, pretty good for diversity. But Firebat here leverages the tempo play of Rogue. It's one of the ways it can really climb back onto the board against Druid. Things like Sap. Things like Sap and the tempo cards like SI, and he just got to combine both of them into a single turn there, which created a huge swing on the board. But Coghammer is a pretty damn nice pickup for a Druid.
Wow. That's really insane, because most of the creatures are, basically more than 3 HP.
Right.
So only the Pilot Shredder and Darnassus Aspirant are 3 HP minions. So every other minion that will be buffed by the Coghammer is something that it's really hard to remove. So let's say it's kind of like you get a Sunwalker. It's really, really cool. But at the same time, the Rogue is putting minions on board. And we talked a lot about it. What is the biggest problem with Druid, right? You can't really deal with minions.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's... yeah, please go.
I was about to say, if Firebat had chosen not to use the prep there for the tempo removal of the 5/5, he would have got himself crushed by the Coghammer. So, he's obviously not playing around Coghammer. He has no idea what to expect here, but I've definitely seen Firebat play this matchup a lot, and he does value just being as far ahead on board as he can. Like, card advantage be damned, I'm just going to get the biggest board I can each time, which I think is definitely the correct way to play the matchup.
In the really old meta game, when you played a lot of oil rogue, you just wanted to be like the on-curve player, going out Farseer on turn 2, second Farseer or just Agent on turn 3, to have just those minions that are problematic to Druid to deal with.
Yep, absolutely. And here we go. This is why giving Druids weapons is so powerful. You can just combine it with your hero power to make such silly things happen like that. Like just chopping down a 3/3 for free there and just dumping a 4/6 on the board. Just such a huge swing straight away.
You can tell that this Druid of the Claw is cosplaying Savage Combatant.
Wait, what?
That he's cosplaying Savage Combatant. Because that's basically what's happening.
Yeah, I got you. It took me a minute, Lothar. I'm not as quick as you, but I got there.
Yeah, but Nimsh would catch that instantly.
Yeah,
but that's because he's known for making such terrible jokes also.
Yep.
So
we saw Firebat pick up the prep last time, which was just phenomenal. A Nexus champion Sarad as well. Wow. Okay. Cool. This is a pretty awesome build here from Hoej. Definitely adding to the excitement, but he's going to have to look to end this game pretty quickly because that prep sprint from Firebat last turn has just presented him with so much value in his hand.
I just wanted to say that this might be a counterspell. I mean, for the next turn, right?
Yep. Darnassus Aspirant comes down on board, so he is now threatening a ton of damage with Savage Roar, but we do see the Blade Flurry in hand, and Tinker's Sharp Sword Oil is a pretty nice card to go along with it.
So that's that clears the board.
Yep.
And puts a huge minion. Wait, 4, 6, 9. No.
No.
I mean,
you can choose to just use the Deadly Poison and use the SI to clear up the Nexus champion.
Yes.
But that does involve taking 4 damage with his face.
What about you Poison Blade? I mean, you play Oil, right? Then you play Agent, and then you Blade Flurry.
Okay. Yeah, well, no, because you're only doing... Oh, no, yeah, the SI combo would still activate. Yeah, I like that play too.
But no, this is way better. What I'm talking
yeah,
about.
this is way better because you just preserve the oil in your hand. You're just using an oil instead of a deadly.
It's not even about the oil itself. It's about that you have 1 million more. Yes. Never mind.
Yep. But still...
wow, look at that. That's additional 2 damage from the Shadow Step.
Whoa!
So that's 16 damage from combo and 18 damage from the Cock Hammer. I mean, Cock Hammer.
How much does a tree cost? Not that it's relevant, because I'm sure it'll be discounted to 0 anyway with the Shadow Step.
It's 2 mana.
It's 2 mana? Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting what he's going to go for here. It looks like
I mean, he's going for... Oh, no.
He's going for the clear, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That is interesting.
I was thinking that he would just go for damage and trade.
Right. I think what his plan is here is try and win the long game here with Ancient of Law. Like, he can use it once to heal and then Shadow Step it and use it again cheaply to draw cards. Maybe something like that is in his mind. But Firebat is just going to put him on the clock here. Just 6 damage to face.
Yeah, now he will be forced to use the Ancient of Law just to heal.
Yeah. But he's going to have a pretty big decision to make here, Firebat. If he doesn't pick up lethal, his hand does not do a great deal right now. And, Hoej is just going to choose... Oh, he innovated again! He can innovate again straight away! Oh, that's amazing.
That's insane that you had the innovate now.
Yeah. He saw that play so quickly as well. That's incredible. Yeah, that's like, wait, it costs 5 mana. He can't play it again. Oh, okay, he just drew innovate. Yeah, fair enough. But Blade Flurry again. I mean, that's about the best card in his deck that Firebat could have drawn.
Yep, definitely. The Darkness's Aspirant is not a bad pickup because it doesn't really matter how much mana do you have. You will still have 10.
Right.
But it was required. It was basically saying you have to get additional damage cells to kill it. Oh wow!
That's such a huge draw, and you can
even with the sap.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say you can say okay, Firebat has the answer with the sap in his hand, but who cares? Like, he doesn't have anything to do next turn anyway. So if his next turn is replaying a 5/10, then sure, we'll take that all day.
Ooh, that's a cool one too, because now you can probably, let's say you draw a second sap. And you win the game. No, we will be 1 off.
He would be 1 off, yeah. No, he'd have 10, right?
No, but there will be an armor up, right?
Yeah, but he'll have 10.
Oh, yeah, because he will have... Yeah, never mind. Yeah. So I guess the correct thing to do here is to replay the Ancient of War.
It is, because in fact he's actually seen both saps being used by Firebat. He used one early. It was a sap SI play on turn 5. It's sap to Druid of the Claw and then SI to...
Oh yeah, right, yeah. Correct, because we saw the bear in the hand, and that's on the usual side. You see.
Ooh!
Nice one.
Sabotage will do the job. We're out of saps, that's fine. We just draw our Sabotage, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, that's actually a cool addition to the rogue, because how much how much weapons do we see in current the game? This Sabotage makes sense.
Yeah.
It's even when you think about Paladin matchup, that's also really cool, because then you can turn 6, right? There might be a Mysterious Challenger with a weapon already on board, and you can kill the Mysterious Challenger with proccing the secrets before you attack, so then you clear it off with a Fan of Knives or something similar. After the redemption, of course, right?
Yep.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, it's also really strong against Patron Warrior, because a common situation in Patron Warrior is you have second charge of Deathbite up, and then you play Emperor, and then you end turn and say, okay, I'm just going to kill you next turn. So Sabotage just gets rid of the Emperor, gets rid of the weapon, and you just say, well, okay, if you can still kill me, then go ahead. But I've just made, I've given myself the best possible chance. So yeah, it's a nice tech inclusion that I do like a lot, especially in tournament play for Rogue. I like Sabotage a lot.
Yep. And now the next matchup.
Yeah, so we see Firebat go out to a 1-0 lead, and looks like this is just a pretty standard-looking mid-range Shaman. And Hoej with the Secret Paladin, the aggressive Secret Paladin as well. We can see that because he has the Divine Favor in his hand, so he probably isn't playing too much high curve stuff and just relying on Divine Favor to gain his value instead. Like I've said 100 times already, Hoej very well known for his play of aggressive decks, so no huge surprise to see him running with one of the best aggro decks in the game right now, which is of course Secret Paladin.
Definitely. The problem is that Shaman is running Elf Shocks, and those literally ruin your minions.
Yeah.
Because it kills instantly a Ardent Squire. It can have even a buff. You don't care. You have Elf Shock.
Yep.
To kill it instantly. Your 1 HP recruits with Blessing of Kings die because of 1 mana spell. That's really annoying. It's like the early stage of Hearthstone when Handlock was really dominant and the counter was Shaman.
Right.
To that was one of the reasons why people were running Yetis instead of Twilight Drakes.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah. The good old early days of Hearthstone. But we've seen Firebat turn down the Earthshock for 3 turns now. He could have just straight up Earthshocked the Squire on turn 1. Turn 2, he had the opportunity to poke the Haunted Creeper for 1 damage and then use Earthshock to finish it off cleanly. But he's decided to hold back on it, so it might be that he is preserving it for a potential Blessing of Kings play, which we do see in Hoej's hand. But no, it looks like Shielded Minibot is finally deemed worthy to receive the Earthshock, and he's just going to trade it down with the Haunted Creeper.
I don't blame him. There's no way apart from True Silver Champion knocking down the totem to clear the board, right? Then you can have like a clear way to kill these spectral spiders. But it's still not that bad. I mean, you want to have the value for your Defender Argus next turn, so you're counting on your opponent having a really bad draw right now.
Yeah, seems reasonable. Hoej going to turn down the Blessing of Kings here. There isn't a lot of value in it right now because it just gets thrown into a Taunt Totem anyway. Play out the other, develop the other minions in his hand, and he'll have the choice between Blessing of Kings and Divine Favor next turn based on the state of the board in his hand. So I like this play a lot.
I love this because there's a good option to play Lightning Storm, but at the same time you want to say to your opponent, just fill the board. I don't have Lightning Storm in my hand. Right.
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to pay off pretty big here because Muster for Battle is going to come down, and these spiders are almost certainly getting popped on one of these taunts, and the Divine Shield is also getting removed. So this looks like it's going to be about... Oh no, he's going to use the weapon for one of them. But
it's still great.
It's still fine because he's going to retain the Defender of Argus on board to make the initial attack anyway. So this is going to be a full clear with Lightning Storm here, and a really huge swing on the board for Firebat.
Yep.
The other reason I like the Defender of Argus play from Firebat last turn is that his hand just kind of curves out really nicely anyway. If he didn't have to play the Lightning Storm this turn, he could just curve out nicely into lower third and just put a lot of pressure on the board. So him playing out his hand was just, avoiding the overload of the Lightning Storm just so he could continue developing just seems pretty solid.
And now the Lightning Storm comes down and shuts down everything.
Yep.
On board. With the help, of course, of Defender of Argus. But at the same time, Hoej has an option to refill his hand with the Divine Favor, but the problem against Shaman is the fact that, I mean, that's not a problem, it's actually an upside for the Paladin. You know that he has Overload, so he will be not able to empty his hand next turn, so you don't have to necessarily use the Divine Favor instantly right now. Yeah,
that's a really good point, actually. I like him poking the Taunt Totem there just to get his way through. And we see Hoej, just to get the casting meme out of the way, he has put his Shredder in the middle. So, definitely become a point of much more focus than previously. I think in Shaman, like talking about the issue seriously, you have much bigger positional concerns than Piloted Shredder in your deck. Things like Flame Tongue Totem and Defender of Argus, I think, are more important to consider than just putting Piloted Shredder in the middle all the time. But he does go ahead and do it here, just to please the masses and carry out the Shredder in the middle meme for now. So Hoej, pretty clunky draw here with that Divine Favor in his hand early. He probably would have liked to draw a bit of a lower curve off the top of his deck. So far he's drawn a 3-mana card followed by a 4-mana card followed by a 4-mana card, which is pretty hard to dump out of your hand when you're trying to activate a Divine Favor. But
is it a problem? I think that after an Earthshock, you really like to get that second Blessing of Kings right now.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, you draw 4 cards for 3 mana.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not complaining.
Are you mad at that?
No,
because you didn't draw one additional card. I mean, it's kind of fine, right?
Yeah, it's fine. If he'd have drawn a lower curve in the last couple of turns, he could have Divine Favored maybe 1 or 2 turns ago, and he would have had a lot more options going into these turns. But it hasn't worked out badly for him at all. We do see Doomhammer double Rockbiter in Firebat's hand, and Firebat is a player who is notorious for just saying, "All right, buddy, let's race." So I would be heavily surprised. Yeah, absolutely. I would be heavily surprised if any of these attacks went anywhere else except into Hoej's face, and that's exactly where they're going.
And the perfect situation here is that you know that your opponent is most likely not playing any taunts,
right?
Apart from Noble Sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're sure there will be, like, unless there's a secret, you know there will be no other things that can interfere with the attack. But also the fact, that's very important, that Paladin is not able to dish out a huge amount of damage unless he has a huge board. And, you know, that's only 9-10 damage right now, and you can count how much damage can he have in his hand, because basically second Blessing of Kings can come down.
Yeah.
And most of the Paladin's mid-range runs are not playing Blessing of Might. Oh, wow!
Oh, the Vitality Totem.
Does it make a difference? 16? Yeah, that makes a difference.
It does, right? Vitality Totem is the one that heals at the end of your turn, right?
Yes, that's full health. So he'll be at 20, and he will not die to double Rockbiter Fire Elemental.
That is crazy. Would a Taunt have been enough? Because the Taunt just gets Fire Elemental. Any 2-drop Taunt apart from a Noyatron would get Fire Elemental.
Yes, a Noyatron would have saved him, and Vitality Totem. So, that's the only thing.
So 2 out of 80-ish.
Wait. No.
Oh, he actually doesn't have enough mana for double Rockbiter because he played the Doomhammer last turn. He actually doesn't have enough mana with the Fire Elemental anyway. So we both got a little bit carried away there. But still, Vitality Totem does, of course, end up being a fantastic draw.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, you're playing into Avenge right now, and that's 5. Not. I mean, Can you set up lethal right now? Because you can't, right? If you would, let's think a little, because I'm not sure if I will be correct here. But if you would go Fates twice and then Fire Elemental the Totem, you're setting up lethal next turn,
right?
And you're not die because there's 5, 10, 14, 15 damage.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that the secret was either Redemption or Revenge, so Fire Elementing a minion doesn't take that much damage off the board anyway. So yeah, I'm kind of with you. Interesting.
I mean, it's a really hard decision, but
it is.
At the same time.
But, you know, Firebat so deliberately chose to activate the race last turn, and then he's bailed out of it immediately. It's pretty interesting. And he chooses to go with the board development and clearing strategy over the Mysterious Challenger, which would of course got him the Noble Sacrifice that he needs to protect himself.
I was wondering about that. I would have played the Mysterious Challenger, I think. Like instantly.
Yeah. But it looks like, you know, this board doesn't seem to have too many answers in it. And I doubt Hoej is playing around double Rockbiter right now. He might be playing around something like Rockbiter plus Crackle. So he probably feels reasonably safe with this kind of board. Doesn't feel like he needs the Noble Sac right now, and this board just feels more powerful to him.
And he's 2 off.
Yep. And he's going to have to throw away one of the Rockbiters here, so his win condition is quickly evaporating. He's going to have to try and compete for this board on the board now. And the Hex is going to come down here, and it looks like Mysterious Challenger will just come down next turn and seal his fate. So tough to see a way out of this one for Firebat from here.
Yep. I mean, the one big turn was the turn when he didn't opt to Fire Elemental the totem, I think.
Right.
That was the only way to turn the tides. Unless he plays double Lightning Storm, and he was counting on that.
Yeah, still, I feel like just setting up the lethal push was the way to do it. Like you said, there's no taunts, there's no healing in this deck, so you are literally just saying don't have Noble Sacrifice, which is sounds weird, but it's 4 cards in your deck, right? It's the two, the 2 Noble Sacrifices and the 2 Mysterious Challenges. So I think it's pretty reasonable to make the lethal push, especially like I said before, like he activated the lethal push so deliberately the turn before and then bailed out of it very, very quickly. So
oh wow, double Beacon Hunter, but he didn't show it.
So this deck
It's
is
kind of
a reaction to the amount of handlock we've seen. Yeah. We did see a ton of handlock in both of the top 40s for NA and EU for BlizzCon. So no huge surprise that Firebat has gone with a hard handlock counter, double BGH Shaman. Like you said before, Earthshock's such a clean counter to Twilight Drakes and now the Void Callers as well. Because we see most handlocks favoring the list with demons as well. So when you pack in double Hex and double BGH as well, which I assume the list is carrying, that's a pretty effective handlock counter.
And he's playing also the Druid, which is known for countering handlocks also.
Right.
Yep. So he went with a full lineup to counter handlocks, but unfortunately for Firebat, Hoej is not sporting a handlock at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if the first round matchups were available to the players before they had to pick their classes. I'm
not sure. I think they don't.
Okay.
I think that they don't know who will be they facing in the first round.
Right.
I mean, it will make sense to not know it. Right?
Yeah, of course. I think.
Oh wow, that hand!
Whoa!
Against a Druid.
Yeah.
That's like the dream.
Yep. He is going to need an additional dragon before turn 4, though, in order to get the full effectiveness out of this hand. Because right now, if he plays out his curve naturally, he's just going to end up with a 2/6 untaunted Twilight Guardian. So he's just going to have to rely a little bit on the blessings of his deck to pick up. Worth noting, as I mentioned, it is the Dragon Priest as opposed to the Control Priest from Hoej. Kind of
big game hunter into
Yeah.
Druid also.
Yeah.
That's really an anti-handlock lineup. Oh wow, that's interesting. He opts to play the Powered Shield instead of just going on curve. What do you think about that?
I'm okay with this. You preserve a 2/4 on the board instead of developing a 3/5, and you dig harder so that you can play that 3/6 next turn. 3/6 is just, I think a 3/6 taunt is way more valuable than a 3/5 on curve.
The problem is you don't have an answer to a free HP minion because he didn't have the Valence Shows in hand, right?
Right.
So you're almost sure that the Druid will play a Palter Shredder, which kills your minions like instantly.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But at the same time, like, trying to develop your 3/6 on the board in the long term is pretty effective against the Piloted Shredder. Ooh, Totem Golem comes down.
Totem Golem, no drawback, no blowback either.
But still, it's unable to effectively trade on this board, so we might see...
What do you say? There's a swipe. You swipe the 4/4, and you attack into the 2/3.
Yeah, I just meant the Totem Golem itself was unable to...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But, you know, we could see Azure Drake and then use Innovate as just a Moonfire to get a hero power out, or the play that you saw, which is the one I favor as well, which is just Swipe. Which looks pretty clean here.
It's really insane. It's really insane because that allows you to regain board control, and that's something Druid thrives on.
He's going to Innovate out the second big game hunter here, which is a pretty good... demonstration of knowledge on the deck. Dragon Priest, one of the full BGH dodge lists in the meta. It plays normally plays absolutely 0 BGH targets. No,
apart from Dr. Boom.
Apart from Dr. Boom sometimes, but even then, you know, it's not always in the deck. So.
It's kind of sad to see that die to Holy Nova, but at the same time, you're not really sad about it because your Totem Golem was a free, gratis, bonus minion, right? Yep. So yeah.
And we do finally see the Twilight Whelp coming into hand. So the Twilight Guardian is at its full potency right now. But
it's still not the best option.
Yeah, it doesn't match up particularly well against a 5/5 when... I mean, I guess the only argument is that you're kind of making Druid hero power on their turn 7, so you're not going to see Ancient of Lore or Ancient of War or Dr. Boom come down this turn. I guess there is an argument to that. But still, this turn works out pretty goddamn well for Firebat regardless.
I was wondering maybe it was better just to play the Technician because it's basically the same. It dies, right? And if Druid plays a 5-mana drop or 7-mana drop, is that such a huge difference?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I guess with the Light Bomb in your hand as well, you're kind of incentivized to encourage the Druid to overdevelop on the board. So him playing Dr. Boom there wouldn't have even really been that bad for you.
Exactly.
You can Light Bomb the board away. So yeah, that may have been a little misstep by Hoej.
I mean, not a miss, just a different type of play, but...
Yeah, a misstep, not necessarily a misplay. Like, it might have sent him down an alternate line, which isn't quite as beneficial for him. But as with these things, always in Hearthstone, like, it's hard to know exactly how the different lines play out against each other.
Especially when you only see one hand. There's no wall hack in Hearthstone. Imagine, I really hope there will be no time in Hearthstone that there will be a software to see your opponent's hand. Apart from twitch.tv.
Yeah, I was going to say, it kind of already exists, right? We both stream. We know it happens. Yeah. This is, that swipe turn with the Totem Golem has just entirely swung this game on its head. But speaking of swinging a game on its head, that doesn't quite do it, though,
I was just like, I was excited to see it because it's really great against Druid, but not in this situation.
Yeah, it's just not fantastic. Shadow Word Pain sitting in hand, just not doing a job either. Just not really many great targets in Druid anymore. They've kind of cut the Belchers from the list, which is a really nice target for Shadow Word Pain. So you're kind of looking at just Darnassus Aspirant and Keeper of the Grove as Pain targets. It's not really looking great, right?
It's really intelligent to cut Belchers in Druid right now when Priest is so popular because of the Shrinkmeister couple Shadow Priest. Yeah. That's like instantly winning the game, right?
Yeah, I mean they can still hit it on your Druid of the Claw, I suppose, though. So does it really make that much of a difference? It's hard to say.
Yeah.
So he's going to go with the Light Bomb here and then just try and retain some sort of board control with the Twilight Whelp. And I like this because you basically, you're banking on your Sarah to win you the game here. So he knows he's going to be behind after this turn, but by using the Light Bomb this turn, he's basically saying, okay, I'm not going to be too far behind to play your Sarah because that's what I really want to do next turn. So even though that wasn't the greatest value Light Bomb, I really like it in terms of the actual game situation because it gives him just about enough time to play Ysera this turn.
True. And...
I mean there's no other play, right?
Yeah, there's no other play. I was thinking maybe you can top deck. A Palatrus wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a situation where... Palatrus would actually be a pretty competitive minion on the board. Normally, the 5/4 body is pretty subpar, but it trades pretty nicely on this board. So. In
this situation, there's a lot of options for Druid. But I just think you ignore the Ysera. You have to deal damage or trade for other minions, because what you have to do is to get the combo and then finish off the game, or trade with the Ysera then. The problem, that's really a big issue for Hoej here. For Firebat, the Dream is actually really a great card here. Basically a 0-mana sap that will gain tempo. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's not... If he'd have innovated out the Ancient of War this turn, the Dream would have been devastating, but obviously sapping these minions is a tempo game, but in the long term, sapping most of these minions, apart from the Pilot Shredder, is fairly reasonable for Firebat. But as we said, the important thing when you're playing against Druid, it's just all about tempo. Like, you want to make them try and... you want to ask them questions as opposed to just answering their questions each turn. So I think the Dream definitely does achieve that better than anything else in his hand right now. I like the Velen's chosen to go with it a lot. I think he's just going to end up leaving the 5/5 on this board.
And that allows Firebat to win the game if he will top deck a Savage Roar.
It will indeed, but there is no play this turn that plays around combo, right?
No, there's no way.
It would have to be some sort of steal play.
He can kill the Shredder and then bounce back the Ancient of Law, because most of the minions from Shredder will have 2 attack or 3 attack, and that's not enough to kill you.
Sure, yeah, okay, that would work, yeah.
Oh, what am I talking about? He's at 22. But he still dies to innovate combo. That would be silly.
Yeah, I figured that was what you meant, because he had the innovate in his hand for the hero power anyway. So.
I'm just reminding you guys, if you want to tweet something about the ridiculous plays in this tournament or ridiculous cards, remember to use the hashtag AbiosGT. So that's an acronym for Grand Tournament. So you can be featured on the stream, like on the bottom part of the stream, you can see a red stripe.
Yeah. You see Joji Gaming right now with the exclamation, of esports. There has been a lot of esports action going on in this series so far with the Grand Crusader and stuff. So if you want to see your name pop up on the stream there, then as Lothar said, use hashtag AbiosGT to get your name, your 5 minutes of fame on stream.
It's almost like giving a donation to a streamer.
I wouldn't know anything about that. Wow, that's a lot of value he's picked up with Thoughtsteel, but is value really what he's looking for right now?
No, it's not.
Ancient of Law might even be better used as just a 5-mana heal here, but does that let him play around combo? Not really.
Does he play Alchemy? Alchemy into Ancient of Law to deal 5 damage? Wow, best card.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty effective. He can, I mean, he would be safe from combo for a turn if he just traded the board down as he sees it here. 4-12 into 5-1, 4-3 into 2-4, and just healed up with the Ancient of Law. That looks fine. But he actually doesn't need to do that. Just healing face is probably enough. So yeah, looks like that's the play we're going for. Ooh, is he gonna heal?
Maybe he's gonna heal the minion? I mean, there's no point to heal either of those, right?
Yeah, he's just playing it out as a 1-3, which I like. Just, again, maximum tempo, maximum board presence against Druid. It's definitely the way forward. Ancient of War going to come down. We do see the Thoughtsteeled Sylvanas, but unfortunately, you really want the Sylvanas on the board preemptively before Ancient of War comes down. Playing it in response when you're fighting for your life right now against a probable combo is probably a little bit too slow.
Wow, second turn of Emperor activation. I mean, that doesn't really change a lot of here. Because even one activation is enough to put out the combo with double Savage Roar. So there's almost no difference. Apart from the fact that you can also include now the Druid of the Claw. So.
Yeah, no, it's very true. That is a ton of damage that he has in his hand if he picks up the Savage Roar. And there is just no really clean way through this board right now. We haven't seen Shrinkmeisters or Cabals, I think, so far in Hoej's deck.
No, we didn't. Oh! I just wanted to say that the Sylvanas is the only card you can play this turn unless you will draw a Shadow Ward Death.
Yep.
Because that allows you to trade and kill the Keeper with your Shadow Ward Pain.
And it's just a board clear, and you develop another 3/4.
Yeah, that was a really huge
wow.
Hoej.
That swing on the board is just enormous, and we see not a great deal of value in Firebat's hand right now, but Sylvanas will do the job quite nicely. And I like retaining the Druid of the Claw here, just because he has an absurd amount of damage with the Savage Roar draw.
Yep, and he's going deeper and deeper into the deck, and he draws one Savage Roar, but that's still not enough to win the game. But
so how much damage is this?
Well, is it?
Just from an empty board, it's 14 plus
it's 20
plus the hero power, so 21.
21, yeah.
Yeah.
That's similar to that.
All right, we do see the Cabal Shadow Priest, but we haven't seen any Shrinkmeisters yet.
Well, you can go you can clear the Sylvanas and then steal back the minion, but that leaves the Palette Shredder intact.
And you will die.
Yeah, so that's not a good option.
But we have to try and imagine from Hoej's perspective, what is he playing around right now? Is he playing around one copy of combo? Is he playing around double combo? He's seen 2 ticks of Emperor go off, so he knows that basically anything is possible. What's he trying to set himself up to be secure against? Oh!
Look at that! He can heal for 4 damage right now if he was still dead. But
25, 27... No, he would be exactly dead. Right?
I mean, that's his play.
That is the play, for sure, but he is still going to be dead. Because we counted 21 from the combo from an empty board last turn, then Sylvanas will add 7 more, so it'll actually be 28 with the extra hero power. He's exactly dead without the Innovate.
That's really sad to see.
He's just going to go ahead and play the Dark Cultist here, because he's safe against 1 combo, right? Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Well, Firebat, choose whichever way you like to kill him from here. It's up to you, my friend.
That's a good option to kill your opponent. Yeah. Double Savage Roar combo with Sylvanas already on board. That's huge amount of damage. You don't even have to count that. That's easier than Patreon.
That is. Many things are easier than Patreon. Despite what Twitch chat would have you believe, many things are easier.
I love the game design of Patreon deck. It's really interesting to see that kind of interaction between cards. It's really well thought when it comes to the idea. right? The concept.
Yeah.
And I love the skill cap that that requires, because it's also really high, and that benefits the better players. But unfortunately, at the same time, the Floating Berserker or Awesome Commander are just allowing the deck to be too powerful, in my opinion.
I have absolutely nothing to add to that. I've had that exact discussion on stream many times before. You've literally taken the words out of my mouth. I love the deck from a design standpoint. I think it's amazing fun. I think that type of deck is good for the game. But yeah, like you said, it's just too good. Something needs to change. But anyway, getting back into the game. No patrons in this matchup, so...
Oh, but I innervate Wildgrove.
We're going to be playing some honest Hearthstone, he says, as one
honest?
player has
There's an innervated Wildgrove.
I was going there, Lothar, okay?
Sorry. I'll let you finish the sentence. Sorry.
So yeah, we see Wildgrowth come down, and we're going to see turn 3 Emperor Thaurissan here from Hoej. So Hoej, good Druid player confirmed. And yeah, it's Shaman, no Hex in hand. He does have double Rockbiter, so he will be able to use his face or this totem, depending on how much he values the damage, to clear out the Thaurissan next turn, but still, I mean, come on, turn 3 Emperor, right? That's
when you have
has to be
Sarad in hand.
Yep.
I mean, that's a good option, right? You can drop it on turn 6 with a spell. That's really insane. And how do you deal with that? You have to use double Rockbiters? Or you can't play Rockbiter on your opponent's minion, because that would be cool to use it with the Big Game Hunter.
That would be really sick, yeah. But yeah, he's gonna...
Oh, that's a pain. That's a really pain.
Using the coin as well, just he essentially coined Totem that turn. He doesn't have Defender of Argus or Flame Tongue Totem in his hand, so how do you feel about the coining Totem there? I
just wanted to fantasize about why would you get 5 damage instead of trading a totem, right?
Yeah, I said that in the previous turns, how much he'd value the totems, but that turn he coined a totem and he chose to use his face instead of trading with the healing totem.
You know that makes sense if you wanted to get the Taunt Totem. Still can't remember. Stoneclaw, right?
Stoneclaw, yeah.
Stoneclaw Totem, because that ensures that your opponent, the Druid player, has to actually spend a whole minion attack, so usually a 4 attack or more, to kill the Stoneclaw Totem, so your minion is safe to attack and trade and get a better value from the healing totem too.
Right.
That really makes sense. That's a really good play.
Okay. Alright, I'm happy with that. But now, going back to Hoy's side, he has options to make here. He can make the on-curve play with the Ancient of Lore, but it just gets challenged on the board very easily, and he also has gives Firebat the option of killing off Sarad without him getting any value from his hero power to generate the spells. It looks like 5/5 body and draw 2 cards on turn 6. He just deems it to be too powerful and just goes ahead and does it anyway.
That's the Doctor 6, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So we're going to see Piloted Shredder come down here from Firebat. Again, he's choosing to put it in the middle, and I actually, I kind of take issue with this as the fact that he's a shaman, because generally your death rattles should be on the extreme edges of your board as a shaman player, because they interrupt your Flame Tongue Totem positioning. And you drawing a Flame Tongue Totem is infinitely more likely than a Flame Tongue Totem dropping off the Piloted Shredder.
Or a Direwolf
Or a Direwolf Alpha.
Yeah.
So you should play around the positional concerns in your deck first before you mess around with silly Shredder stuff, in my opinion.
I mean, in this situation, I don't blame him, because there's no Flame Tongue Totem in his hand, right? And there might be a big difference if you will get that kind of drop from the Shredder, because you have to battle for the board control.
Okay.
So it can really make a huge difference in this situation.
Yeah, I'd still just playing the odds game. Isn't he more likely? I think he's 3.5% or something to draw any individual card. So he's roughly 7% to draw a Flame Tongue Totem next turn. That's way more likely than Direwolf or Flame Tongue Totem dropping off the Shredder, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
So.
Do you go for the Lightning Storm right now? I mean, you can wait 1 turn. The Shadow Storms will not be exposed next turn, that's for sure.
Right.
And you can still kind of go for the coin flip.
Yeah, I think Hex and Lightning Storm this turn just looks way too clean. You just get an uncontested 4/1 on the board against Druid. Like we've mentioned it so many times, this is just the sort of turn you want, right? Just if you can sweep your opponent's board and leave yourself with a decent sized minion on the board yourself, then you kind of consider yourself ahead against Druid. So I definitely like going for the Lightning Storm play here.
Oh, look at that.
That's all right.
Our favorite card.
Grand Crusader will save us.
I mean, that's a really good pickup here because you can trade for the Pulse Shredder and play the Crusader. But even with the Doomsayer threat, I would still favor it to play first because Mana Ref can basically say, "Oh, well, you have Druid of the Claw."
Yeah, just play Druid of the Claw. It's totally fine.
Hey, wouldn't you favor the Druid of the Claw in this situation just to trade for the 1/4? You saw 2 Rock Biters. But you didn't see Fire Elemental. Never
also,
mind.
he has like Savage Roar and Swipe in his hand, so he might be valuing the utility of the Druid of the Claw to charge at some point as well. So 5/5 goes uncontested on the board, and Druid has managed to fight his way back into the game pretty nicely after that swing turn from Firebat. So Hoej now looking at his hand. Hammer of Wrath, pretty nice card to pick up for a Druid. Generally, drawing cards is something that Druids enjoy doing. We've seen Drakes come into the new Druid builds because of the extra low mana cards you're playing with Darnassus Aspirant and sometimes Living Roots. You run out of cards a lot more quickly, so the little bit of extra card draw is definitely something that Druids don't mind having. And all of a sudden, we're just back in this situation where the Druid just has a massive board staring Firebat down in the face, so he's going to have to come up with some more answers here.
Which is very interesting, because usually Shaman was the counter to Druid, and we see now it kind of struggles with the Monumentum that the Druid built.
Right.
That, I mean, the double F-Shock are just basically doing nothing against Druid in general, right? Because they're great against Python Shredders, but already saw... No, we didn't see... We did only see one from...
We've seen one from Hoej, I believe. Yeah.
Yes. From Hoej we've seen one. We have seen one from Firebat also.
This seems fair, right? 5/5 and a 4/6 on your opponent's board, and you play a Haunted Creeper, and there's the Force of Nature. And Druid just continues to do Druid things. We've seen 2 pretty straightforward Druid games just pounding away until we drew the damage with combo, and it's just what Druid does sometimes. We're going to tie the series up 2-2, and we're going all the way to Game 5, Lothar.
Game 5 between Alcon and Navi. Navi's back. If someone watches other games will know what that means. But yeah, we'll be going into the final game between Firebat and Hoej. And in the meantime, when you're waiting for the last game, you can go to abiosgaming.com and check the upcoming games, because that's the go-to place when it comes to esports.
Indeed. So the last matchup, we only have one matchup left. Both players, by the nature of Conquest, only have one deck left to win with, and it is Hoej's Dragon Priest, which we'd probably say is his least comfortable deck based on his history of what he's been running in tournament. He probably feels the least confident about this one, if I had to take a guess. And it's coming up against Firebat's very heavily teched Shaman deck, which features things like double Big Game Hunter and no Big Game Hunter targets to use them on. So we're kind of down to the point where both players kind of have their weakest decks in their lineup for this specific matchup, coming down against each other, and it's just going to be which one of them can find the way to scrape out the win.
Very good, very well said. But at the same time, we kind of missed the F-Shocks here. Those are really important.
That is very true, yeah.
They can kill the Twilight Whelps and Twilight Drakes, but most of the priest players are not bringing the Twilight Drake anymore because they're usually not playing False Steals. And that's the card what you want to play on turn 3 before you play the Twilight Drake, right?
Right. But yeah, Earthshock, really good for just clean killing a Twilight Whelp. Excellent to deny the value of something like a Velen's Chosen. If those two things are put together, Velen's Chosen on a Twilight Whelp, then it's just insane value. But
yeah, but no one will do that, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we won't see Hoej falling into that trap this game. But manages to get himself down a nice competitive board to deal with the threat of the turn 2 Totem Golem there. And he's just able to curve out really nicely here. But again, we see him in that situation where he really wants to see a dragon come off the top of his deck this turn.
But at the same time, he's presenting a really big threat every single turn. But Hoej rolls a little higher than minimum on the Fire Elemental, and that changes a lot.
Firebat did, right?
Sorry, Firebat, yeah. And that changes a lot because it requires a buff from the priest player.
Or a little card called Shadow Word Death. That does the job too.
True.
So now he just has a 3/7 on board, looking pretty tasty, and we see one of those pretty useless Big Game Hunters. They are just unstealth jungle hunters in this matchup, what I can see. And yeah, 4/6, not really going to do the job.
That's not something we're to see right now. I mean, it's really going tough. It's really going really hard for Firebat. You can't make a comeback with that kind of minions in your hand because that's not enough damage. Fire Elemental doesn't make a difference either, because usually the priest player will try to heal his minions above any kind of reach. Because that's how you maintain board control, right?
Thought Steel.
Tusker Totemic, does it change something here? No, not really.
I think it's probably the play though, right? He doesn't have anything else to do this turn particularly.
Yeah, well, he can have the dream with the Cleric and Healing Totem.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, he's just going to go ahead and heal. Alright, I'm okay with this. He knows because of the overload there's no Fire Elemental down this turn, which would have been a clean punish, but Defender of Argus is a pretty clean punish as well. It does play into a turn 6 Cabal, but when you have a 5-1 on the board, I don't think you're too worried about your opponent cabaling your 2-3. Probably much better for Hoej here is the card that he just drew, which is the Blackwing Corruptor, because now he just has an incredibly clean board clear with the Earthshock. And
that kind of allows him to maintain what he was trying to do from turn 1. So good plan. For Firebat is really looking grim. I mean, he needs like a Crackle here. Nope. Haunted
Creeper. This is dangerous now against Cabal Shadow Priest, but he's going to go ahead and play it anyway. I think he recognizes he's slightly behind here. He can't be too careful playing around things. He just has to try and get his value on the board. Second Twilight Drake allows for the first one to be played if he would like to.
Well, he can always play 2. He has the coin, but the second one will be kinda worse.
Yeah. Velen's chosen here. Wow, he's seen the big game hunters in his opponent's deck.
Exactly what I want to say. Like, I wouldn't predict he will play a Velen's chosen.
Right.
Because that's a really insane combo card with the Holy Nova that you can play on the Twilight Drake.
Yeah, and isn't just trade out the Twilight Drake and play Twilight Guardian and Tuskar Totemic that turn? Isn't that just totally fine?
Yeah, I would favor that. Definitely favor that. I mean, you just allow your opponent to make a comeback. Because he gains tempo.
Right, and you've seen the big game hunters in your opponent's deck. You've seen various cards, like the Alakir and the Fire Elemental on the left-hand side of Firebat's hand have been there the whole time. So you can even make a read to say that he might have a useless card like a big game hunter in his hand. You know you have no big game hunter targets in your deck, and then you just present your opponent with a big game hunter target. It seems like a really strange line of play there from Hoej. But
maybe he just wants to bait it out for the Holy Nova, but you lose a minion. I mean, that's not what you wanted to see, right?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's worth it. So Holy Nova coin second Twilight Guardian here seems like a
what about the Tusker Totemic? I mean,
I don't is there a reason why he's afraid of playing this? There seems to have been 3 turns so far where it seems fine. I think on this turn I do like just developing the massive amount of power on the board.
I'm really curious why.
No Holy Nova.
No Holy Nova. That's really interesting because that allows your opponent to go with a really huge Lightning Storm. Or wait. What about Alakir Rockbiter? Kill both Twilight Drakes.
Wow. Okay, that is huge.
And then you trade
out the Drake.
Big Game Hunter into the Azure Drake. You cleared the board.
Wow.
And you just regain. The whole game, Firebat was on the back foot. Yeah. And the only reason why he's making a comeback right now is the fact that Hoej did play into his big game hunter.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really weird. I mean, there would be no chance of making a comeback if the Valencians would not be having played on that turn.
Yep. Completely agree with you. Saying that, it's good ordering from Hoej. He can potentially pick up the Spell Power Totem here, and then it's not that relevant, but he would get 1 extra damage to face. So it is a good ordering here to play the Tuskar Totemic first. But I mean, this game is so much closer than it has any right to be because of the play with the Velen's Chosen. It just seemed like he had such a solid alternative that turn with the Twilight Guardian and the Tuskar Totemic that it just seems slightly bizarre to me that he went for it. Regardless, he does have the Light Bomb to tidy up this mess. It will leave a 3-1 Totem Golem behind on the board.
And Air Totem.
And the Spell Power Totem.
Obviously,
well,
right?
Yeah. So it might, yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised to see the Ysera come down here, which is going to be answered very, very nicely with the Hex, but I don't fault him for this particular play at all. This looks like the right line to me.
The Dream is not better, I would say, in this case when he has almost no minions in his hand. He would favor even the Laugh Sister. Well, maybe not the Laugh Sister, but Emerald Drake. Oh, wait, that's a target for Big Game Hunter.
Yep, it's very true.
I guess it's still kind of fine, right?
Yeah, I think getting a random token from your a 4-mana token that wasn't in your deck BGH'd. I think you're probably okay with that.
Yeah, and now you play Cleric first, Light Bomb, and then heal the Cleric, right?
Yep, definitely a play that I have made a lot as Priest. On the rare occasion I'm playing a Priest deck with Light Bomb in it, because I tend not to favor it too much. But the turn 10 Cleric clear with the Light Bomb is usually pretty solid. Looks like he was favoring Shadow of Pain there for a second, which would certainly be being used on the Totem Golem if anything. But then what's his follow-up from that point? It looks like this has to be a Light Bomb to me.
I mean, you have to also get some cards in your hand, because you're going like really short on answers. I mean, not on answers. Sorry, he has answers. He's lacking on board control.
Right. So yeah, he's looking to just pick up some more board presence here. Shaman is definitely a deck that you can kind of starve out in the late game. They have a lot of low drops in their deck and not too much card draw. They generally only play two Azure Drakes as the card draw, and they can always top deck into things like Haunted Creepers and stuff, and have really dead draws, or just 1-mana spells like Lightning Bolt, Rockbiter, Earthshock.
Oh man!
Tuskar Totemic, summon a random Manatide Totem.
Oh, that's insane. That's even better than a Totem Golem right now.
Yep.
Because the Totem Golem is just doing damage, and does nothing else. Like, that's really not cementing anything. You already have board control and means to deal with minions.
Yep.
So getting card advantage is what we want to get now.
Yep. Absolutely agree with you. And as I said, we just saw the Earthshock being drawn. So you can imagine if that was his draw off the top of his deck next turn, it would be a very dead draw and his hand wouldn't have a great deal going on in it. But now cycling through that Earthshock with the Manatide Totem, he has a higher chance of hitting something more relevant next turn, like a second Fire Elemental or something.
Yeah.
So Shadow of Pain is definitely going to come down here. Way too dangerous to leave up the Manatide Totem.
Yeah. And the Holy Nova doesn't have really big value here.
Yeah. And I like this play. Just regain the tempo on the board. Get yourself a Dark Cultist. And then if the Shredder comes down next turn, you can play an additional minion and trade into the Shredder, pick up a nice buff on whatever else.
But that's a great pickup for Firebat. And he wouldn't have that in his hand without the Tuskar Totemic.
Precisely, yeah. So you can see how important the Manatide Totem was there to dig in one extra.
Ooh, that's a great pickup, because now we can that's like a back-to-back change of pace.
Yep. And looks like he's going to deliberately get the buff on the 2/4.
And there's a Wolf Alpha. We just talked about it.
We did. Unfortunately, the positioning is going to be messed up for Hoej. There's no way to avoid it. The stolen minion always goes to the far right, so no way to get the perfect positioning here. But still, nonetheless, that was a really huge turn for Hoej. Is it going to be enough though with this hand? With this hand from Firebat, there's just so much going on. Lightning Storm, Fire Elemental this turn.
And the Doomhammer will kind of seal the deal, even with one Rockbiter use, right? There was one use on the turn when he had to play the Alakir.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else?
No, I think he still has one remaining in his deck, but even without the Rockbiter, just the 16 damage that thing represents naturally, or just the amount of board control it represents naturally, is just going to be enough to win the game. He's playing against a Priest. He could quite happily equip Doomhammer next turn and just take 8 on this Azure Drake just to clear it. He's not scared of dying. If that's what it comes down to for the board control, he can quite happily do that.
There's no way Priest can disroute that damage in one card, or even with 2, or even with 3, unless he's playing Valence with Mind Blasts.
Right. And somehow I don't think that's a deck we'll be seeing in this tournament.
Yep. Vermis Agent. Oh, well, that's a 1/4 minion. Kind of falls short to Azure Drake. But do you have to play it? I mean, it's basically useless. Wouldn't it be better just to keep it in your hand to draw a dragon and maybe next turn?
I kind of like this because you're just you're trying to get a minion to live, right? If he wants to take care of the Wormrest agent, then the cleric is going to live. If he wants to take care of the cleric, then the Wormrest agent is going to live. So, based on what you can see, this stuck a minion to the board, and then things like Power Word Shield top deck, Balance Chosen top deck suddenly become a lot more relevant. So yeah, it seems reasonable, but you know, I think Hoej knows he's just trying to scrap his way through a losing path right now, but he's going to soldier on, stay in the game. Obviously, 2-2 with you know, $5,000 worth of prizes on the line. You don't want to just be scooting out of a game when you maybe still have a 0.1% chance of winning it.
Yeah, but I'm kind of wondering why Hoej is not playing a pirate deck. He has a pirate already on this picture.
Oh, yeah. I believe its name is Pidgey. I've seen him tweeting about it quite regularly.
So it's a Pokemon?
Yeah.
Is Pokemon Go already out? It's like, what?
So yeah, there we go. With the
Firebat wins.
With the inevitability on his side, Firebat eventually picks up the game, 3-2, and he will move on into our second round. So really well played from Firebat, but I think that game hinged on the turn we talked about at some length, where he offered up his Blackwing Corruptor to the big game hunter with the Balance Chosen.
I agree with you. That was a really huge tempo play for Firebat. Those big game hunters were basically useless unless, as we said, also the Emerald Drake would pop out from Ysera.
Yep.
But that's basically it. And Hoej falls short. This is a single elimination, so we'll be not seeing Hoej anymore in this tournament. But he might be seen in a future Abios TV event. So be sure to follow the channel because there will be more, and not only Hearthstone. So this is it for this game. This is the second game of the day one